Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sharon Whiteman, and it's my great pleasure and privilege to partner with Diana Hunter, who you see on the screen with me today, and Gary Knapp, who is a lot for all of us behind the scenes. Big warm welcome to everybody here's live. And for those of you listening to this down the track, please make sure you pass this on to people you love and care about. The recording is a gift that keeps on giving, and we're really blessed to be able to receive this education from Diana this morning. Diana has been with Mannatech since 1998. She has pursued a passionate interest in complementary health for over 30 years, initially driven by her own health challenges and then by her genuine desire to assist others in maintaining good health naturally. As a result of her heart and support to the community, Diana is a recipient of the Giving Spirit Award. She holds an associate diploma in allied health and a certificate in basic nutrition and health, and she has skillfully assisted hundreds of people in their wellness goals. In this training today, Diana will cover what is your immune system? How can you support your immune system to work to optimal functioning? What are the three foundation keys to your immune health and simple life choices that make the difference? How to be informed on living life with assurance, feeling confident that your immune system is well cared for and up for the challenges that we're facing in the 21st century. So Diana, thank you for saying yes. I'm very grateful, and I'll go off camera now and listen and learn.
Well, thank you, Sharon, for that very kind and warm introduction. Welcome, everyone. I'm delighted to be here sharing with you about what it takes to strengthen, to fortify our immune system. So I'll just share my slides and we'll get going. And there we go. And so, as I say, it's about strengthening and fortifying our immune system. And, that is our inner defender, our inner protector, if you like. But I think in the broader view, in the broader picture, it's about improving our health resilience, having more resilient well-being. So put in your chat if you would like, yes, if you would like more resilient well-being. And I'm sure I'm speaking to the right crowd here. Thanks for sharing. And so I'm going to be covering what are the fundamentals to strengthening our immune system for healthy function. We'll take a look at, what is our immune system? How does it work? What's involved? And how does it communicate? And then we'll take a look at the relationship, the interrelationship between our gut, our digestion, and our immune system. And I like to have a holistic approach to our well-being, whichever aspect we're focusing on. We're focusing on the immune health today. And so what are the nutritional and lifestyle choices that we can be wrapping around this knowledge to strengthen our immune health? So the first step is to take a look at what is the immune system, because it can feel a little bit elusive, can't it? We hear that word bandied around, but what exactly is it? And this graphic on the right shows that there are many systems and organs involved. It's not just about the white blood cells, which is sort of the common knowledge base. You can see here that, we've got the lymphatic system, we've got organs involved, and also, of course, the white blood cells that are produced from within these some of this system. And so the first line of defense are the barriers. So we've got our skin that protects us from, invading pathogens, toxins, allergens. We've got the mucous membrane, which is the internal skin. It forms a barrier. Our lungs are a form of barrier, and our stomach acid is a barrier. It kills off the bad guys, the bad bugs, before they get into our system and cause havoc. And if you've ever had a gut infection from a bad bug, you'd be glad you have your stomach acid on board to protect you in most cases. However, if those barriers are permeated by something, perhaps a pathogen or a toxin, an allergen, or perhaps we've had some form of injury or inflammation that our immune system needs to respond to, then there's a production and mobilization of our cell defenses. And that's where the white blood cells come into play. And so you'll see on this graphic here that a big part of our immune system is actually the lymphatic system. And I think if our immune system appears elusive, then I think our lymphatic system is even more elusive. So I think it pays to have knowledge about what is our lymphatic system. And you can see here how extensive it is within the body. It includes the spleen, the bone marrow, and the thymus, and that's where our white blood cells are actually produced. And an extensive network of lymphatic vessels. You can see they go, you can't see in this picture, but they go all the way down the legs, all throughout the body. And of course, those little nodules there in this graphic are the lymph nodes. So if you've ever had an inflammation or infection and a little lump and it's a raised lymph node, because what's going on in there is the lymph nodes clear up the pathogens or damaged cells using white blood cells within those nodes. And the entire system is like the body's detoxification system, the sewage system in which we drain off, clear off the toxins. And so it's really important that we take care of our lymphatic system and so that it's working optimally to support our immune well-being. Now, the lymph, just for general knowledge, the lymph system drains into some central ducts here in the central part of the body, and then it is filtered off by the kidneys. So again, you know, the kidneys aren't part of the lymphatic system, but they're definitely part of our cleansing system. And then while our heart is the pump for the blood, for the circulatory system, the lymphatic system, the pump for that moves the lymph, is muscle activity. So I'm going to include some lifestyle activities that help keep this pump active and healthy. Now, if a invader has got through those barriers and the white cells are activated, this is just a picture of the complexity of the communication that has to go on within our white blood cell system. It's very complex, very extensive. And I think this quote here sums it up. White blood cells have an incredible communication capacity. They signal to and receive signals from other cells. They locate abnormal proteins in all types of tissue, and they bind to cell and pathogen membranes. And I'll give you a view of that in a moment. The bottom line is that this requires a complex range of receptors and channels upon and within the white blood cell membrane. So let's take a closer look at what's going on there in our body. So this is another graphic of a cell, and this is the cell representation of the cell membrane. Now, through every single cell in our body, through the cell membrane, are these little antenna-like structures. And they are the receptors that we were just speaking, the cell surface receptors that we were speaking about a moment ago. Now, they're made up of a sugar that's a glycan and a protein chain. So that's called a glycoprotein. Or these sugars or glycans are attached to a lipid, a glycolipid. Now, the source of these glycans should be in our diet, more about that later. But of the 200 carbohydrates in nature, only 8 of them have this communication function on the cell's surface. Now, what happens is the cells come up, they rub up against each other, these antennae, and they pass information like a coded language. I call it cellular braille. And this is how our body communicates everything, all structure and all function. And it is totally fundamental to the communication within our immune system, within the white blood cell system. So our immune system is constantly asking, is this me? The cells are rubbing up against each other, like in this graphic, and they're saying, is this me? Or is this a foreign body, a foreign entity that I need to deal with, to launch myself against and to keep my body in good health? So this healthy cellular communication is the basis for our immune response. Now, this information about glycans and cell surface communication, that's world science. And these glycans have been proven to be directly involved in our immunity. You know, for many decades now. This is a quote from an article capitalizing carbohydrates way back in 1991, saying that cell surface glycans are essential in the correct functioning of the body's immune defenses. And then in 1995, Nature magazine, which is a worldwide respected magazine, scientific magazine, cell surface glycans are necessary for recognition and immune function. And then in 2012, the National Academy of Sciences in the US did a study of all the science on glycans that was current to that date. And they concluded that the human immune system, it's evolved the ability, the capacity to recognize the pathogen-specific glycan sequences, I'll explain that in a minute, on bacteria, fungus, viruses, and trigger or launch an immune response. So if we look at this graphic here, these are the glycan sequences on our cell, on a human body cell. On a bacteria, a virus, a toxin, any other cell, even a sick cell, there's a different glycan sequence. And our cells are touching that and going, is this me or is this foreign? And if it goes, no, that's foreign, that doesn't belong to me, it then launches the white blood cells to deal with it. And this is just one closer up microscopic view of our immune system responding in this way. So this is a graphic of a capillary, a blood capillary, the tiniest blood vessels that we have. And in there are floating these red blood cells and these white blood cells. Out in the tissue is an area of inflammation or infection. And so what happens when the body recognizes this through cell communication, the white blood cells start to roll, and these selectins on the cell surface of the blood vessel, which is a glycan structure, grab onto the white blood cell and pull it out into the tissue to deal with that area of inflammation or infection. So this is just one example of how vital these cell surface glycans are to respond healthily, to have a healthy immune response. So I'm going to have a bit of a change in direction, but just hold in your mind that we need these glycans and we're meant to be getting them in abundant supply in our diet. So let's look at, well, what are the pressures that we're all facing in our modern world now that are affecting our immune well-being? Well, the first one is the depletion in the quality of nutrition in our food. And there's several factors behind this. We're growing our food over and over on the same soils without the adequate replenishment of the broad spectrum of nutrition that needs to be in the soil if it's going to be in the plant. On top of that, we're picking our produce green before it's ripened on the plant, and this significantly depletes nutrition. Then we're adding a whole range of chemicals to our farming practices. We're having to transport our food long distances and storing our food for longer and longer periods of time. And then we're over processing our food. And I think one really easy example that we can all relate to is, if you ever bought an apple in December in the supermarket and got that floury, awful experience, that's because that was picked in the middle of winter, stored, and then you're eating it. So how much nutrition do you think is left in that apple by the time you're eating it in 6 months later? Now, on top of this is the amount of stress. Just put a Y in the chat if you experience any stress in your life. I imagine it's all of you. Way more than our grandparents experienced. You know, we're subject to so much input in our daily life and so much expectation in our daily lives now. And on top of that, we can't always make good lifestyle choices. And, you know, all of this causes chemical changes at a biological level, and that can affect our health. And then in addition to that, none of us are escaping exposure to the level of toxic load there is in our environment now, whether it be in our home, in our car, in our workplace, just outside. In all animals, in all humans tested so far, anywhere on the planet, we've found chemicals in their system. And Dr. Steve Nugent educated us last year that now there's been over 300,000 synthetic chemicals launched in our environment since the 1930s and 40s, and they're found in food, water, and our air everywhere. They're circulating through the weather patterns around our globe. And this has been scientifically shown to have created a decline in our immune well-being by about 30% over the last several decades. And unfortunately, that's continuing to decline. So it doesn't take much to put two and two together about why more and more people are, suffering some sort of health challenge. Now we're getting back to the glycans, and we're thinking about what's available in our food. It's been shown scientifically that even though we need these 8 nutritional glycans in our diet, then only 6 of them only 2 of them, so 6 of the 8 necessary glycans are deficient. So only 2 of them are readily available in our modern diet. And this can cause a communication breakdown at a cellular level. It's like the garbled language. And I think a good example to relate to this is if you've not got good signal on your mobile phone and you can't hear what the person's saying clearly, and you have to give up on the conversation. I'll have to say I've been without internet for the last month, and I've had 1 bar on my mobile hotspotting to my computer to try and communicate, and it's been extremely difficult. There's been communication breakdown a number of times, and this is what can happen at a cellular level. If the cells aren't coded in those glycans, they can't recognize and respond in a healthy manner. And it's at this point I'd like to introduce to you, if you're not already aware, of the company Mannatech, because they are world leaders in nutritional glycan supplements. So we can add these glycans back into our daily diet and have that health assurance that our cells are provided the raw material that they need to communicate effectively. Mannatech are an international research and development company, and they specialize wherever possible from food-derived nutritional supplements, wherever science allows or wherever the local government allows. They were founded back in 1994, so 30 years ago. They've got a very long track record, and they've invested over $50 million in research over those last 30 years into the efficacy of their products. So that when you're adding these products, these nutrients into your daily diet, you're receiving the highest quality, they're effective, and that they're safe when you're adding them into your daily regime. Now, as I said, the science of glycans is world science, but Mannatech are the only company worldwide that have produced a supplement of these nutritional glycans and made that available. And it's got a 29-year proven track record now. And Mannatech are a science company, and they've proven that when you add these glycans, this product Ambitose, into your daily diet, it will increase your immune support that cellular communication that is so vital for our overall health and our immunity. It also is known to improve brain function, concentration, focus, memory, to lift and improve our mood. We're talking about the level of stress that we're all under. Who doesn't need something will just buoy our mood, and also improve our digestive well-being. It's interesting that the recent science or recent research has shown that the number one area that people are wanting to get nutritional support for is their digestion. And I'm sure, all those pressures that we're talking about on our health are having an impact on our digestive well-being. Ambitose is known to support digestive health. And the science goes on, and they did a study that showed that adding Ambritose into the daily regime enhances the body's ability to respond to bacterial vaccines. So this Ambritose, this supplement of the 8 known nutritional glycans, truly is the foundation for cellular communication in your body. Again, Maniteca, a science company, they did develop an enhanced formula about a decade ago now, if I remember correctly. It has all the benefits of our Ambritose complex, plus it has a boost of 3 of the nutritional glycans, the Manopol, which is the king of glycans for immune support, Wakame, which is a seaweed that is a rich source of fucoidins, which is a glycan, and that also known for immune support. And also it has the highest grade arabinogalactone in it, as does the Ambritose complex. Now with Ambritose Life, they've added in 3 factors that help with detoxification. Again, we're talking about the level of toxic load that's putting pressure on our immune health. This product has aloe and modified citrus pectin and sodium alginate, which is a seaweed-based element, that both of these help with detoxification of chemicals and heavy metals within the body. And then the base of Ambritose Life is a standardized rice bran, which is action-packed rich in a whole range of nutrients. So the base of this product is nutrient rich. And then the science progresses, and in 2020, there was a scientific study done to evaluate the impact of Ambritose on our immunity, gut health, and psychological well-being in both men and women. And it concluded, now this is whenever science is done with Manitec products, it is the highest level, gold standard, double-blind, placebo crossover trial science. And this study showed that with regular supplementation of Ambritose, it's not only safe, it can improve subclinical cellular adversity. Well, that's just scientific jargon for it can improve your cellular response at that level where it needs to be happening. And it does that without unnecessary activation of the immune response. So with our immune system, we don't want it overreacting or overstimulated. We want it modulated, and Ambritose has been validated to be an immune system modulator, or another word for that, balance. Now, Manitec also developed a product based around the glycans, but this Manaboom is designed to give us an extra blast of specific glycans that nourish the immune cells and reinforce our immune resistance. So it has a boost of mannose in it and the wakame, the fucoidins, and also included in the product is a couple of nutritional elements that are known to help with immune response, vitamin C and zinc. And I'm sure you've heard of vitamin C and zinc, particularly in the last few years when there's been a greater focus on how do I support my immune system. This is a fantastic product, Manaboom, to have in the cupboard. I make sure all my family and as many as my customers as possible have this in their cupboard ready for those times where, you just feel like your immune system needs a little bit of extra support. And I can have 1 or 2 sachets of these, maybe over a few days, to really bolster and fortify your immune response. Because of the elements within this product, nutritional elements, it also promotes gastrointestinal health. And it's interesting to note that Manopol, the mannose, also enhances the absorption of vitamin C and E, which again help with immune response. So a really beautiful product to have on hand. Oh, and yes, I just wanted to highlight that at the moment, the company have an incredible special on. You can get 3 of these products for the price of 2. So you buy 2, get 1 free. And that's available until the 31st of August, or of course, while stocks last. So please take advantage of that and get some in the cupboard. Okay, I wanted to take a closer look here with you about how our health is determined. So we've got another, or a health response really is determined. So we've got another graphic of a cell here. This is the cell membrane. This is the glycan structures on the cell surface and the protein. Now, what happens is our cells are constantly reading signals. Other cells are passing by, or a toxin, allergen, pathogen, chemical signals, nutrition are passing by this cell, connecting with the receptor and giving information, and the cell is responding to the information. So there's a cellular response. Now, it's really interesting that there's been science done, is when there is no glycan receptor on the cell surface, what do you think happens? There's absolutely no cellular response. So that gives us an even clearer picture of how vital these glycan structures are for our body to respond to any information that's coming by. Now, there's a research scientist, he's a cellular biologist, Dr. Bruce Lipton. You may have heard of him. He's known as the father of epigenetics. And he did some research that showed that rather than our genes determining our health, so it was thought that, we were subject to the genes of our parents and our grandparents and through our ancestral line, and we just had to accept that we might have the same disease expression as they've had. Well, Dr. Bruce Lipton showed that that actually isn't the case, that our health is determined by the signals that the cell is receiving. So that signal could be good nutrition, good lifestyle, and healthy mindset. And when the body is getting these healthy signals, it can have a healthy or healthier cellular response. So rather than our being subject to our genes, gene expression is subject to the signals that we're giving our body. And just on mindset, if you've got any doubt about that, you just think about the placebo effect. That's well known, that people, when they think they're receiving a certain element, their health improves. And that's known as the placebo effect. And that's because of their mindset, their belief system. And what about practicing gratitude? When we practice gratitude, on focusing on the positive in our life, it can lift the way we feel. And so our mindset also helps determine the expression of our well-being. And the other thing I wanted to share with you, there was some science done that showed that when people have an action plan in place for their health, and they have a belief that an action plan is going to work, so they've got this mindset, then they had the best health outcomes within that study. So on that note, there you go. What are the signals, the healthy signals that you can give to your body for optimal immune response, optimal immune health resilience, as we spoke about earlier in the presentation? So I just want to go through some of these lifestyle choices. Eating well, good nutrition, natural, diverse, and fiber rich. Adding in these nutritional supplements that are of the highest quality, that, when you put them in your body, you're actually going to receive benefit from them. Drinking clean filtered water. There's chlorine in our water. And if you put chlorine in a pool, why do you do that? To kill the bugs, right? So if you're putting chlorine in your body, it's also going to kill the bugs, the good bugs. We'll talk about more of that in a moment, in your gut. So if you're having trouble drinking enough water, don't make it hard. Just maybe add an extra glass of water into your day and start building that way, or drinking herbal teas in the winter. I'm not so good at drinking water in the winter. I warm the water up, or I drink herbal teas. So just think about ways that you can increase your water intake if you feel like you're not having enough. Because the water, remember our lymphatic system, the water is the thing that flushes through your lymphatic system. So you want to give it all of the support that it deserves. Having adequate sleep, science has shown 7 to 9 hours a night is ideal. And that's because at night, our immune system is doing some of its hardest work. And also our hormonal system is building in our sleep, that also is has a connection with our immune system. Integrating and embracing some form of relaxation, mindfulness, getting out in nature, whatever you can do to take time out, de-stress, and give your cellular body, a cellular biology, a chance to relax and do its thing, optimize itself. Minimizing toxic exposure in your life, in your home. What are you putting on your body? What are you putting on your skin? Is it clean? What's in your car? What's in your work environment that you can improve? So just thinking about being conscious about how you can minimize the toxic load that your body's exposed to. Having some form of regular activity, again, this is the pump for your immune system. It's foundational for your overall well-being, and I think we all know that. Making sure you're having some form of laughter, regular laughter in your life, and I mean belly laugh out loud. I actually physically pursue this. I'll watch videos on YouTube, or I'll watch funny programs on television and allow myself to laugh out loud. And it's been shown to be a natural booster for our immune health. And then, of course, common sense, sunshine, and time in nature. It's the natural healer that's available to all of us. And of course, regular sunshine helps our body produce that vitamin D that also supports our immune health. Now, I mentioned in the very beginning, I'm also going to take a look at the relationship between our immune system and our gut. And some of you may have heard of the microbiome. Now, the microbiome is a living village of microorganisms that exists within our body. It exists within our entire body. And it's so vast that the microbiome, so with bacteria, protozoa, virus, fungi, actually outnumber the cells of your physical body. And there are many local microbiomes in the body. Your brain has a microbiome, but the largest and highest concentration is in the large intestine. So that's what we're focusing on. And in our large intestine, you've got the good guys and the bad guys, the good bacteria, etc., and the bad bacteria. And the good guys are what supports our natural immune defense. It's part of our immune defense system. And science in the last few years is starting to identify a dormant microbiome. And I think it's good to be aware of, because sometimes the bad guys, you might have had an infection of some kind and you get over it. But what can happen is those bad guys can hide within the cells of your body and just lie dormant there, kept in check by your healthy, resilient immune system. However, they can reactivate if your immune system becomes under pressure and therefore depleted. And it's a really good example that we can relate to is a cold sore. If you get cold sores, we know that they can reactivate when our immune system, when we've been under pressure and stress. The same is with shingles, Epstein-Barr, Lyme disease, Ross River fever. These are all examples of infections that can lie dormant but be kept in check by a healthy immune system. So another reason to keep our immune system resilient. Now, the gut biome, so we're focusing on the gut, is really a powerhouse for our immunity, because 70% of our immune system lines our gut. And there's over 500 species of bacteria in the microbiome within our gut. So this diversity is important because it helps regulate our immune balance and also helps keep a healthy lining. And we're talking about the barrier here, right? We're talking about barriers being part of our immune protection. Well, the lining of the gut is one of those barriers, so it keeps that healthy. So it's important that we nourish that gut biome, we take care of it to support that diversity for our immunity, for our gut health, for the brain function. There's heaps of science about also the intimate relationship between our gut and our brain, and just for our overall health. So what can cause an imbalance in that gut biome? Because it's happening for many people. And obviously poor dietary choices, bad fats, low fiber, processed foods, all kinds of preservatives and additives that we might be hidden in our food. Alcohol. So if you've got an injury that you need to have attended to, sometimes we'll put alcohol to kill the bacteria. Well, if you're putting that alcohol in your body, it's killing the good guys in there. And so something to be conscious of. Some medications, unfortunately, interfere with the gut biome. Stress, again, cause chemical changes that affects the balance of the microbiota. Chlorine in the water, I spoke about that. And then, if you get, if the barrier isn't resilient enough and you get a gut infection, the opportunistic bugs take over. And all of this can lead to what's called dysbiosis. It just means difficult digestion. And it's also interesting that scientists, there's incredible science going into the gut biome, the microbiota in the body. And scientists are now linking changes in the gut microbiome with specific diseases. So specific changes with specific diseases. So it'll be interesting to watch that space. So it's important that we care for our gut, and Mannatech have brought forward a premium state-of-the-art probiotic. Now, there's many probiotics on the market today. This one is a premium probiotic. It actually has 8 probiotics for the small and large intestine, and it has 50 billion CFU, so numbers of these probiotics within it. And that is a leader in the marketplace in terms of probiotic delivery. And also really important is that it contains prebiotics, glycans, and fructooligosaccharides. You don't need to understand what that is, but prebiotics help keep these probiotics alive so that they're active and viable when they're delivered into your gut, because there's some challenges for them to get through, but to get into and be alive when they arrive in your gut. This product promotes gastrointestinal health. It nourishes the good guys, the good friendly bacteria. And it's also been developed to be harmonious with our Ambitose product. There's science there that has shown certain probiotics are more in harmony with the glycans that actually support immune health within the gut. So it helps with digestive and immune health. So this is a vital, GeoPro Balance is a vital part of our daily care regime to support our gut health and our immunity. And it's obviously Mannatech are a science company. They're aware that these two products work in synergy and in harmony together. Mannatech have actually developed in Australia a discount bundle, so you can get these two products together at a discount price. So I recommend you look out for that. And on top of adding these into your daily diet, these are the other beneficial dietary choices you can make. Making sure you have adequate fiber, which also acts as a prebiotic and supporting gut function. Adding fermented foods, so further extending your gut microbiota. Kimchi, sauerkraut, kefir, kombucha is another one. And also just keeping an eye or being aware of how much sugar intake you're having, because sugar is known to feed the bad guys. So if you can minimize your sugar intake, that also gives your body a leg up to maintaining a healthy gut microbiome. So there we have it. These are the nutritional foundations that Mannatech are providing for immune support. We've got the Ambitose, supporting immune system communication and gut health. We've got the Mannaboom, that gives us a rocket boost for our immune system to have on hand when we need it. And we have the GeoPro Balance, which is specifically delivering those probiotic good guys for gut support and healthy immune. In my mind, this is just intelligent supplementation, and it's derived, all of these products are actually derived from food sources. So the way your body's meant to be receiving it. I also featured on this slide here, this product Mannapol. I haven't had the time to include that in this presentation, but Mannapol is a standalone of that king of glycans, mannose, that is in the Ambitose, but it is in a concentrated form in the Mannapol. So if you know of anyone who has specific immune system challenges or needs immune system help, this is something to talk to the person that invited you to this call about considering adding Manopol also into your daily regime. And before I close off my presentation, I'd just like to spend a couple of moments mentioning about Manotek's program. I call it Nourish Yourself, Nourish Your Child program. They call it the M5M Foundation. And how this works is that whenever the customer is buying products to care for their own health or their family's health, Manotek on your behalf provides nutritional supplement to a malnourished child, an at-risk child somewhere in the world. And this is just a few examples of the upliftment that it creates, establishes in these children's life. This is Aura. Whoops, too far. This is Aura. You can see over 1 year the upliftment in the condition of her well-being. She's a happy child after a year of receiving nutritional supplements. So this is some of the glycans. This PhytoBlend powder is added into their feeding program. And that includes the glycans and also a broad range of nutrition in a powdered form. And then this is Ingrid to the right, and you can see the transformation in her health by just adding in good nutrition over a 6-month period. And Manotek also have a liaison with another company. Just can't think of the name right now, but they produce these 1 meal packets. So it's a whole meal that also has this glycan nutritional blend added in there, so they can have healthy meal and nourish their well-being. And so our customers feel good about the fact that they're not only taking care of their own health, they're taking care of a child somewhere in the world. So bringing this to a close, Manotek truly are bringing science and nature together to give you the opportunity to have resources to support the foundation of your optimal health. So I suggest you get back to the person who invited you to this presentation, take on board some of these lifestyle choices as well that I've mentioned in the presentation, get back to the person who invited you here and have a discussion about what are the best choices for you, and for your family's health. And with that, Sharon, I'll hand back to you and we'll bring it to a close.
I'll make sure to send you the chat, Dana. There's incredible gratitude for your education, and I know this will be widely shared. And if you're new to this information, like Dana said, just gets back to the person who shared it with you. It can only bless people. So Dana, God bless you. And we have Dr. Nugent next week. I'm not sure of the topic. Hopefully he'll be helping us with some of our special bundles, because that really helps to understand why some of our technology works well together and enhance. So Dana, have a great weekend. Bye, everybody. Thanks for being here.